Have you ever heard the first chord of the chorus of Elton John's Your Song? You can tell everybody this is your song. That first chord is a first inversion chord. It's B flat with D in the bass. You can tell everybody. It's not B flat with B flat in the bass, which would be the tonic. That would sound flat. It would sound like, you can tell everybody. No, it's this. And you can tell everybody. And once you hear it, you can't really go back to the old way of playing. It just sounds so right. It's the right one. Today we're going to talk about the first inversion chord. So, how is it made up? Well, if you take a triad like C and you put the middle note in the bass, you've got a first inversion chord. Now you can play it like this, you can play it like this, but there is a tradition going back to Bach and all through classical music of not doubling the third. Now the third is the third note of the scale, which is E, because it's too rich. You get a really rich, almost muddy sound. So the tradition is to leave out the third in the right hand, and you get a cleaner sound. You can double the tonic on top if you like, or you can double the fifth like this. In practice, I've seen Elton John all the time use the third, double up the third in the bass, something like this. Like that's just C over E to F. So in classical music you might see it written as 6 over 3, and sometimes it's shortened to just 6. Now let's look at some examples of where this chord comes into popular music. So one of my favorite examples is Maybe I'm Amazed by Paul McCartney. The first chord is a first inversion chord. It's D with F sharp bass. Okay, the second one is the minor version of that, so he puts F in the bass, but we'll move on to the minor first inversions later. So that's the first chord is D with F sharp in the bass. Maybe I'm amazed. Okay, so B flat. And then the second chord is also a first inversion in a different key. It's B flat to F over A, which is essentially the dominant chord with the third in the bass. Love you all the time. That is a lovely chord. That's the second inversion chord. We're going to go to them later as well. C over G to G. It's like a kind of a sus chord. Now, one of my favorite examples of where this happens, the first inversion happens all over the place, is Piano Man. So we've got C, G with B bass, F with A bass, both first inversions. Second inversion chord there with C over G, F. First inversion, which is C over E, D7 and G. Okay, so how does that work in practice? You've got C, and then you've got G with B bass, right? F with A bass. See their first inversions there. Now, it's if you hear it without the inversions, it sounds not really good. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Not good. Or some people do it like this, like a kind of Bojangles version. 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Guitar players are guilty of that a lot of the time. It's this. This is the right one. 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The regular crowd shuffles in. Wonderful Tonight is another example where the first inversion chord comes in, and you'll notice that a lot of them are in the second place So you've got the opening, which is a normal, this is the key of G, which is the tonic chord. Now the second chord is, just like Maybe I'm Amazed, it's the dominant chord of D with F sharp in the bass. It's late in the evening, she's wondering what clothes to wear, so G, she puts on her makeup. So it's better than this. It's late in the evening. Do you hear the difference? It's not as good when you do it that way, but when you have that stepwise motion, it's lovely. God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. You've got this little effect here in the chorus. God only knows what I'd be without you. So tonic A, dominant E with G bass, F sharp minor 7 and E. What about A Saturday Sun from Nick Drake? Saturday Sun. So tonic, dominant with third in the bass. Came early one morning. There's our friend, the second inversion again. And the sky's so clear and blue. Roughly. But the important thing is that second chord is G with B bass at first inversion chord. Candle in the Wind is a good example. Candle in the Wind is interesting because it's E, A, E, A, but the second time the E comes around, he does it as a third inversion, or sorry, first inversion. So, goodbye Norma Jean E, though I never knew you at all, you had the grace to hold yourself. See that? For those around you crawled. I think that's lovely. Crawled out of the woodwork. There's a lot of subtlety in John's music. And they whispered into your brain, set you on a treadmill, and they made you change your name. Okay, so how about the piano outro to the original Layla by Derek and the Dominos, Eric Clapton in brackets. It's a lovely little piece. That's roughly the tune of it, but the second chord is C with E bass. So you've got C, then C with E bass. You see that coming in a lot. It comes into Billy Joel's My Life as well. Got a call from an old friend, we used to be real close. So you get the tonic chord and then the tonic with the third in the bass. You can also see it in So glad we made it, look how far we've come, my baby. I know that's too high for me, but that is Shania Twain's Still the One, and it's E flat, then E flat with G bass, and then A and B flat, A flat and B flat. Let me see. Uptown Girl is another example where that comes in, where you've got the tonic and then it goes to the third in the bass, but in between there's a minor chord. Bit high for me again. Uptown Girl, so E, F sharp minor, and then E with G sharp bass, G sharp in the bass, which is the first inversion. Let me see. Another good Billy Joel song. I'm a big Billy Joel fan, and he uses these chords very effectively. The chorus of Goodnight Saigon. It's not F. It's not all go down together. It's F with A bass. That's what gives it its power. We will all go down together. We said we'd all go down together. Now there's some cool chords happening there as well, which we will do later. That's actually a C with B flat, which is a third inversion. We'll come to that later. It's essentially a C7.